Hi, I'm Jim Friedenmaker, and I'm going to talk to you today about APIs. I'm going to switch screens. So, a lot of people, this won't be of interest to everyone, but for the people that are interested in learning about APIs, I've found that a lot of people are intimidated by them, and there's no need for that. But API just stands for an Application Programming Interface. Now, in 2025, most people interested or learning about APIs are talking to the large language models of artificial intelligence. So that's an example of what they're doing. But uh, a lot of times, to kind of take away the mystique, we need to see it in action. So you could read the documentation for a particular API or whatever, but there's a program that can be used for free called Postman. There are definitely pricing plan options as well, but I'll show you that, the pricing. So I'm just using the free account just to prove that this is all free. Um, and I'll show you some examples of how I did it. Now, a lot of times when you're doing it this way, you might have to quote unquote hard code your username or your API keys. That's normally not how you would do it. You would normally never want to share that because other people finding those keys of yours could do that. So I have made an example here of a live project that I've done. But first I want to show you this. I want to show you, before I show you the program itself. So it's just postman.com, and I'm just going to go over here just as proof. You don't have to share this publicly. So I don't have any profile views, and I don't have anything out there public. So you want to make sure that if you're doing something proprietary, that you're hiding that information. You're making these private. But I'm going to show you the Postman program. So it's just a program to download on the computer. Now you'll see I have not exposed my username for this example. I can't run it live because that is not a valid username, but I ran this earlier with my actual username in there to give you the output. So what this does is my first example of AI that is using APIs with the large language models. My first example was a weather app. So the Weather Service, National Weather Service, requires a latitude longitude. Well, I know my zip code. I don't know my latitude and longitude. So the first step was to find an API, and this is a free API, but you just have to register with a username. But api.geonames.org, and all these are called parameters afterwards. So here's the postal code. Max rows is 10. I'll explain that in a second. The username is what it is, and the country is US. So in their example is you can omit this country parameter, okay? And you see that it automatically refreshed up here. So it's showing you, as I change things up here, if I change that zip code to something else, I just can't run it live to. If I change that, you see how these are changing, right? So if worldwide, not just the US, if 45694 has it, I'm telling it to return a maximum rows of 10. In this case, because the country was US, of course I'm only going to get one result. So if I'm accurate in my zip code, then I'm only going to get one result. Okay, and then what it returns is down here. Most importantly, is the latitude and the longitude of Portsmouth, Ohio. So if you're questioning, if you're using an API, you're not really sure, or you just to eliminate some of the mystique, what's it doing? What's going on when you're doing this? All you're doing is making a call to another computer, and it's going to return a result. In this case, the format that I'm expecting it to be in is JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. Okay, it's just a unique format. So my code expects it to come back in this format, and then I can extract out each of these elements. In this case, all I need is the latitude and longitude to pass it to the Weather Service. So that's just a quick example of using Postman for free to you can use it, of course, to write your own APIs. But this audience is more about consuming other people's APIs. So the documentation, you can paste in the actual strings, you can try it and get live results. You just have to put in, if let's say you're calling OpenAI API, then you're going to be passing an API key. And again, just be careful, of course, when you share this. If you're sharing it with others in a video like I'm doing, you don't want to expose any of your sensitive information. But otherwise, as a tool, it's perfect, and just wanted to point that out. Have a great day.